Hi, it's Rusty Smith for Record Mix Repeat. Welcome to episode 2 of me moving my studio to a new room. In this episode, we're going to hang some panels that I bought from GIK. These are called 242 panels. We're going to hang them from the ceiling and create a cloud structure of panels. They're going to be hanging about 3 inches from the ceiling, and this helps trap bass, so that's a good thing. And not only that, but it kind of looks cool. I used Microsoft Word to figure out where I was going to put these panels, how far from the wall, how far from the recessed lights, and also where they were spaced out to where it looked right, and square to the walls and square to the beams, etc. There was a lot of trial and error and a heck of a lot of measurement in this, and I think there might have been more error than there was trial at one point in time. Kind of frustrating, but I did get it done, so here's how I did it, and you'll see the end result. How am I getting these things up there? How did I figure this out? Well, here's the trick. These things are all handmade. And so, some picture wire for hanging, if that's how you so choose to do so. And there's 4 eye-rings in here. And since these are all handmade, the eye-rings aren't in the exact same spot on each panel. So for me to find the right spot to put the hooks in the ceiling, I had to come up with a method that worked. And to be in the right place, I realized I had to have the hooks about 1 inch further than where the eyelets are, because if the ceiling is sloped, then they're going to swing a little bit. Which means I had to come up with a method of placing the hooks. So each hook, I would measure the distance from the front of the hook where the picture wire would hang from the front of each hook, measure the distance from this edge, and create a reference point. And from that reference point, I measure from here to this eye hook, from here to this eye hook, and from here to this eye hook. And I just mark those spots on the wall. So, creating a right angle here, and then creating a right angle here. So that gives me this point, this point, this point, and this point. And I end up with 4 spots on the wall, and I write down the measurements from the panel, and then I write down the measurements from the wall. And luckily, this method works. It took me a little while to kind of put it together in my head, but it's just basically trial and error. So, from our reference point to the point north of it is 1 foot. Exactly, that's great. So we know what that is. So I write down the measurement as I go along here so I can keep track of this stuff. And on a right angle, this is 21 and a half. And this guy is 11 3/4. And that's all we need. All right, so let's go do that up on the wonderful ceiling. 11 3/4 from our right angle. We got our line. Here we go. Let's get on our line. 11 3/4. All right, we're on the line. And 11, 1, 2, 3, 3/4 right there. Okay, so we've marked the 4 spots that we're going to put the hooks. Can't have any fear, you just go for it. If it's wrong, it's just 4 tiny holes. Anchor bolts. Are they anchor bolts? I don't know if they're just anchors. I don't know what the hell they're called. Anchor something. The tricky thing is just finding the spots on the ceiling. The rest of it's stupid simple. And you screw in these Christmas light holding devices. So it turns out the thing I found that works really well for the application of hanging these panels is these hooks right here. They're used for hanging Christmas lights, believe it or not, and they're very difficult to find. I had to go to 3 or 4 different Lowe's to find enough of these things to get this installation completed. Anyway, quick hanger. So just repeat the procedure. Drill the holes after you mark them, shove the anchors into the holes, and then grab the quick hangers and screw those suckers in. Tighten them with a screwdriver so you don't screw up your fingers, and next thing you know, it's done. So I've come up with the decision that 3 inches is the proper length for my wire, so I have a 3-inch piece of hanger wire that I'm using as a reference. Same one, so hopefully it all works out. Pretty darn simple concept here. There certainly is not much weight on these things because these panels weigh, small ones weigh 6 pounds, big ones weigh 12 pounds or 13. So each corner is only supporting a few pounds and certainly capable of holding the weight. So 3 inches takes us to here. Fold it over my finger. Put a screwdriver in here and wrap this around. Let's go ahead and get a decent amount here so we can do what we need to do. Alright, and wrap this around here. Extremely simple concept. Last thing I figured out I had to do was that working with panels, they get little particulate funk on them. And I gotta get all the particulate funk off of them. So let's use some shipping tape. Alright, time to hang it up. All the hard work and preparation makes this part the easy part, he says. So it's just a matter of getting the thing put in the right place, putting the right hanger on the right hook, and letting it support itself and trying not to rip the fabric on the ladder. Get one side done, do the other side, and the next thing you know, the thing is hanging up there all on its lonesome, and all that measuring and stuff kind of pays off. Well, what do you know? That's in the right place and looks pretty darn good. And pretty darn good is my criteria. So I just continued doing the same thing over and over and over again. There were a total of 14 panels, and I went through this whole ordeal of measuring exactly where the eyelets were on the panels, because each panel was unique, and then finding those spots on the ceiling, and then installing the anchors, and then screwing in the Christmas light holders, and then making the little wires that were 3 inches long, and then hanging the panel. All right, so I got the ceiling panels in place. And there they are in all their glory. 14 of them. And it's already dampening down the reflections. Get the walls and the floor taken care of, and this place will sound very nice, I'm certain of it. Well, it took a couple of days, but I did get it done. Got those panels up on the ceiling in a nice cloud structure, and it's already damped the room down quite a bit. The only downside to this was I had to climb a ladder about 500 times, and my knees are killing me. Ugh. So the next video deals with putting panels on the walls. There's 2 different kinds of panels I got from GIK.
One panel is called B4 panels. They're 4 inches thick. They trap bass and they also absorb sound. And then they have a new product out called slat fusers. These are also 4 inches thick, but they got some nice wood slats on the front to diffuse sound a little bit, and they look pretty darn nice. Tune into that one and see how that goes. I'm Rusty Smith for Record Mix Repeat. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe and share with your friends, and please tune in again.